Yo.
Alright.
Good. How are you?
Pretty well.
This is what started it all. These fucking shithouse beanies.
So was that when you were in Canada or?
So this is Japan. So basically what happened was there was a girl there called Laura. She was a snowboard instructor. So I was a snowboard instructor. And she was crocheting all these beanies for all the other instructors that we lived in. We lived in this house. It was like an old hotel. It's like 15 people or something in there. And she was charging $40 for these beanies. So I was just like, oh, you know, I'm always kind of interested in this kind of shit. How do you do it? And so she taught me. And so I started learning and started mucking around with it. And like, I made all these different ones. And the thing that I liked, that I got a kick out of, was just coming up with all the colorways. Because you could buy the wool from the local supermarket where we were living in Hakuba. And you could change like the needle sizes and all kinds of stuff. So anyways, I started realizing that people really liked picking their colors. So I started making all these different colorways, and then I started giving them away for free. And I kind of undercut Laura. It was pretty funny. So this sketch was kind of like, it was like the start a little bit. So Alex, obviously, is my brother, my younger brother. He's the artistic one. So this sketch is 10 years old, and it's literally out of his notebook from our Japan sketchbook. We both had a sketchbook each, and it says one pig, and that was kind of like, it was weird. We didn't quite know what the name was. It was more about like, when we started, like we were these kind of young guys that just, I would skip every lesson possible. I would work as little as possible just because I'd want to go snowboarding every day, and people called us powder pigs, and it was kind of like whatever you're focused on, you kind of do what you want to do. You know, whether you're into park, whether you're into, you know, like doing rails and shit, whether you're into powder or whatever, you kind of, you have this obsession and this relentlessness to whatever you do. And that's kind of how it started, but because we were in Japan, we're like, well, let's call it Ichpig, because, you know, ich is one in Japanese. So the theme was kind of real raw, and it was real there. It was this kind of one focus, relentlessly chasing it. It was just real snow focused at that point because that's where we were. And you got to remember, like when he drew this, he was 19 and I was like 20, 21. So we were super young, and it took us the better part of 7 or 8 years to finally figure out what that actually meant and put it into a coherent sentence. The logo is actually on a slight 10 degrees, and that's because we always perceived ourselves as what we're doing as the future, where we always felt like we were thinking ahead. We were doing things that, you know, no one else was doing. We got about 100 of these posters printed up that Alex hand drew. And yeah, we didn't realize that, you know, like when you do pay stubs, you actually pay companies to do that. But you know, we were so young and we were so like, just do it all yourself, DIY, which is still a big part of the brand today. I think we Googled how to do the wheat paste.
Yeah.
And then we just went around bombing spots. It was pretty funny. Like, we did this one spot where it was like on a train line, and it was like, we like pasted it up, and this train came flying by, and we were just like sitting there like, as this train went screaming past us, and we were covered in wheat paste and all this shit, and like, it was so funny. I think it was definitely a pretty big ode for what was to come. Like, we are very like, get shit done. Like, that's kind of how it is. It's like, for instance, like a while back, I hit up a customer, an old customer of ours. His name's Connor, and you know, like I hadn't spoken to him in a while, but he's a really good customer. He's bought quite a lot of stuff from us. And I hit him up just seeing how he was, and you know, just checking in on him, showing the new shit or whatever. And he said how he didn't have a job, and I remember last time I spoke to him, he didn't have a job then either. And it had been a few months, so I was like, oh fuck, what's been happening? What, you know, he's like, no, because he just moved back. I think he just moved from Perth or something, and he's originally from New Zealand. And he was saying how he'd just been struggling to find work. So I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do something about this. I hit my girlfriend up who works for Reese. I said, yo, is there any jobs at Reese going? And she said, what do you need? And I said, well, I've got this guy. And I asked Connor, I was like, what's your qualification? And he said, oh, I do this. And I said to Araha, my partner, I was like, you know, okay, what jobs would suit this? She said, okay, get him to apply for this one. And within a day, he'd applied for the job, gotten a call for an interview. Araha had put in a reference for him, spoken to his future boss and manager, and teed it all up. And within two or 3 days, he got the job.
That's so awesome.
And then last week, he came in and bought some shit, like, because, you know, just, you know, I guess to say thank you or whatever, right? But that's an example of how we are, you know, like, there's no time like the present. Like, I said to him, like, let me sort something for you. I'll get this figured out. And I went and did it, you know, because at some point, you know, like, you just got to get shit done.
Yeah.
There's no point fucking talking about it. Once we started getting better at selling the jumpers at the Snow, we started getting people saying, like, you know, I want this color, I want this color, I want this, I want this. And some of the cool shit that we used to do, you know, like with all these colorways, you can see, like, some of it's just, some of them are bananas. When we used to sell these, we would literally put these on this personal Facebook page that I made, that was me, but turned into Ichpig, and we would auction these things off. We would put them up and say, first person to buy them gets it. It's a large. And we'd put it up and it just go whack, and you get this comment, hit me up, like. One of the things with us is, that I find amazing, is how we've gone from that to what I'm wearing now. The custom thing was like, it's like Macca's, right? Like, we treat it like that. So it's like, you know, at Macca's you've got a bun, you've got lettuce, you've got your burger, you've got onion, you've got your cheese, whatever, right? And they put it all together as an assembly line. But what that means is they've got to carry a whole bunch of stock of all those things in assembly line. So what we used to do was, we used to treat a jumper like an assembly line. We'd have a torso made up, we'd have some arms, we'd have some ribbon cuff, we'd have the hood pieces, and you'd have a cord. But what that meant was, we'd have to carry X amount of each part in each color in each size. Now you think about how many variables I just ran through there. That's a lot of stock. You know, that was like, we were sitting on about, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 grand worth of shit just for this custom stuff. We'd be sitting on it at any one time. Our money would be tied up in these things that you couldn't turn into anything. We love colorways. We love that shit. It was a big part of the brand, and people ask about custom coming back all the time, but it's like, it's hard because...
Is it also like something, obviously you can't do on a grand scale either?
Can't scale that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to scale. It took a lot of money to keep it going. It took a lot of time. You know, like, if we ran it now, sure, we could, but like, would people pay $400 for a custom hood? Would they pay $300 for a custom hood? I'm not sure. Maybe, but, you know, spending 60 grand on the stock to make it happen, that's a big call.
Yeah. I imagine it must have been like, it would have been like hurtful to like move on from that.
Yeah, it was really tricky. We copped a lot of flack over that.
Really?
A lot of flack.
Yeah, that's stiff.
It's just the way it is, but people don't get it.
No, you had to,
people don't understand, like...
To grow, you had to move from that.
Yeah, people don't understand that, like... And you know, like, and that's the thing, you know, like, people, whether they're in business or not, they don't get it, that, like, the way it works is, you've got to give a little to get a little. You can't have your cake and eat the first slice. And you've got to, and one of the things that I always say when I'm, you know, talking to groups about business, or I'm talking to people about running your own business, is if you're not willing to chop off your own arm to save your torso, forget about it. Don't even bother. So, the anorak pocket. This was literally the idea for it. Alex refined the shit out of it and made it, and that's kind of how our relationship is. It's yin and yang. I am chaos, he is order. I am the raw idea, he is the refinement of the raw idea. These drawings do not make sense. They don't. I'm looking at them right now, and it's not how the anorak is right now. But Alex saw this and took it, and, you know, we started becoming famous for this pocket. And then that kind of launched our ready-made and kind of took us in a new direction again. And, you know, suddenly we became a new thing again. that's what's always made us different and special, is that, you know, the guys that control the money, control the calls, control the design, control the production, control everything, are the ones actually fundamentally wearing the stuff, you know? Like tonight, when we skate, you'll see I'm going to be skating in the stuff. And, you know, I'll say to Alex, you know, oh, this needs to change this way, or this needs to change that way, or we're always changing. Like the amount of times we'll fuck around with our t-shirt block, even our t-shirt block, we'll change a centimetre here, centimetre there, we'll move the pin here, we'll move that, or whatever, right? Because we're just constantly evolving, we're constantly chasing. It's that idea of relentless progression. It's like, and I say it a lot, it's like, sometimes you feel like you're just constantly chasing, and just like, you're always like that, and you're just missing what you're grabbing, you know? You just kind of like that, and you feel like you're just so close, and it just constantly moves away from you, that little, and it just makes you go further. It's that gym concept, you know? It's like push. It's in everything. It's in skateboarding, it's in snowboarding, it's in basketball, it's, you know, you're just constantly striving. But at the same time, sometimes you feel like you're never happy, and that's the hard thing. You've got to learn to sometimes stop and realise that, you know, fuck, what you're doing is pretty sick, or you've achieved something, or you're doing something you never thought you'd be able to do. To be honest, most of my mates are Ichpig. Like, start off as customers, or you meet him around, or like Robbie, that was here before. First time I met him, he like kind of hit me up to like sponsor him. But anyways, I didn't hear from Robbie for ages. They just ended up here and they started helping us build, because Robbie's a builder.
How do you go about investing in these people that are around you?
I don't know, like Robbie being a builder, like a carpentry business, so, you know, whenever he needs help kind of talking numbers or whatever, or understanding things, you know, not long ago his health was not very good, so I started giving him just time. It's invaluable things like that, you know, maybe I give an opportunity to do this or an opportunity to do that here or there. It's that hard balance between, like, you know, when you're on a plane and they're doing the safety demonstration and they say, put your mask on before anyone else, because if you're unconscious you can't help anyone. And that's what I struggle with. Sometimes I'll give people too much oxygen and I'll suffocate myself. So you've got to constantly finding that battle between, and that balance between giving enough oxygen to yourself, but also helping others as much as you can.
In terms of like having people around like this, all the other stuff, like inviting the other groups to come in, what is your vision overall, say 5 years for the community, what do you want it to be?
If it can create, I don't know, like, it's hard because you've got to be realistic, you've got to be kind of, yeah, but like, you know, we're getting those curbside kits that, you know, Dylan was filming the other day in here. I had a meeting on my day off, a company called Own Life. We were going to start trying to run lessons out of here. Yeah, it's just a dope creative space. Like, I'm across so many different things, and the brand is as well, as you know. And everyone needs an opportunity, everyone needs a space. Like, it's hard to have the backing and the funding to have a place like this. We work fucking hard to keep the lights on here. We work really hard.
Servers stage where it wasn't working out? Because obviously, like you mentioned, in the fourth or fifth year, you realised it's gone really well. And was there ever a stage where you took a risk and it didn't go well, like you said?
Like after that fourth or fifth year, we hit a bit of a saturation point. We stopped being perceived as that underground Melbourne brand, that brand that everyone is wearing, and it really hurts.
How did you respond to that? How did you make that?
We changed it up a little bit. We stopped doing the tall clothing, and we cut out custom. They were the two big ones. They got the type of people and audiences that were first coming back to the brand, and we're still working on those people coming back. It's a lot of effort.
We started skating together. I know that we chatted on the brand before we started off.
Yeah,
And then I came over and bought some shit.
that's right.
Yeah.
Is that when we were in Tottenham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made the truck over.
Holy shit, like when you say it, you can tell you haven't thought about it in like 5 years.
I can't. The volume of shit that happens every day, like even like thinking about how I did these guys, it's the same thing, you know. Like I just haven't thought about it in ages. It's a weird blurry line, like friends, homies, customers, like.
You're creating people that don't feel like customers. You know?
You don't feel like a customer? Sick. That's good.
Fucking hope not.
Nah, but like I'm always interested, like how. Because like I was saying to these guys before, how like obviously I try and help, you know, the friends out where I can, but like at the same time it's like it's sick how I don't know, you guys never expect just heaps of shit for free from me, you know?
It's interesting you say that the lines are blurred between customer and friend. It's not something that is easily achieved.
Nah, it's weird. It's weird how I don't, not that I get away with it, but it's weird how like
It's not something you can aim to do. It's just natural.
This has always been a different.
this is yeah.
I've always thought all my purchases go to them making better stock, like better brand. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Making this skate park.
For a brand to have that kind of cash flow just lying around to spend on something that just sits here,
Doesn't make it.
it makes it a bit of money, but it doesn't. It's not like it's killing it. Like it's
It's not there to make.
nah, it's just there to kind of, you know, provide, give a space on Tuesday night when it's cold outside, you know, for people to come have a roll, to have premieres, to have, you know, like an art show for Hone when he wants to.
Yeah. Just create a space for everyone to use, man. For the wider community. Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. There's a white navy that you would like. That's right up there, really. And there's a black grey you would like. Oh, yeah. And then that one's thick too.
Let's go buy shit.
Let's go do some fucking shopping. Let's do some shopping. And then these ones. What, the mindsets?
Yeah, these.
Yeah, they're fucking off its head.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
They're off their head.
Yeah, I'll grab that one too.
Yeah. So you'll be the first one to have it. I don't even have that one yet. Let me grab that.
You don't have any all or nothings?
Nah, they're all gone. Oh, actually, I have my navy one up on the seconds rack if you want. It's the blue one with the pink.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll grab that one too.
Done.
And I'll get more. This is a small. I've already got small.
You guys need shorts? I got
Nah.
shorts too.
I know you got shorts. He's a hustler.
Every time you guys come here, you always hit me up. You're like, "Oh, do you have this? Do you have this?" I'm like, "Oh, fuck! I'm gonna scramble here. I'm gonna think of something else quickly."
It's all good.
Alright, so black, yellows.
Yeah, I'll grab them. I hate Richmond.
Red sick.
That's
or white sick. Don't have to go black, yellow.
No, we'll go Bombers.
Savings?
Check.
Check.
Always check.
Yeah, once daylight savings kicks in, we'll have to start going skating a bit.
I want to. Yeah, out. It's like, come on. Is that shit footage? come from? Ride the wave. He's at the wave. Ride the wave. You've got some footage, Jacob. Thank you.
No worries, legends. Thanks for the support as always. Thanks for feeding Albert. Fucking Albert. He's fucking useless. I fucking hate that thing.
Yeah, till next time.
You guys got all your shit?
Yeah, hopefully.
Are you guys skating on the weekend?
Maybe that's a lot.
Oh yeah, wow, that's sick.
Ooh, that's big. Yeah, I just skated. It's big, depending on. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that guy ripped it.
yeah, he's not bad, Jacob. Alright, good.
I'll hit this up. I'll probably skate Saturday, Arvo, if you guys are keen. And free.
100%.
I know. Robbie, I know. More than anyone, I reckon I know.
I know you know, that's the thing.
I've missed a lot of skates because of work.
Yeah, I do.
Right, safe drive, guys. Good seeing you. I guess you'd say I'm good at people skills. I'm good at talking, but I wasn't the smartest cookie. Like, I have this problem where when I write stuff, especially in English, I'd struggle. I had this problem where I would be writing, and my hand couldn't keep up with how fast my head was going. So I would be so far ahead of what I was actually writing that I would start writing what I was ahead on. And I'd blend two sentences together that wouldn't make sense.
That's crazy.
Like I'd be halfway through writing a sentence and then I'd be thinking about the next thought because I'd be so far ahead of it. I'd start writing half of that next thought into that sentence that I hadn't quite finished writing yet.
Yeah.
I've never actually said that aloud to anyone before.
You seem so non-stop.
Yeah, it's non-stop. It's really, it's good and it's bad. It's the balance.
You didn't know how to harness it, I guess.
Got to know how to harness it for sure, and you've got to know when to call it quits because you'll just drive yourself into the ground. And that's the kind of internal struggle that I deal with every day is how hard do I push versus am I pushing hard enough? It's really, I've struggled with it my whole life, and I'm getting much better at it, and I'm learning. And to be honest, it's through having a partner. To be honest, that's what's helped me.
Well, if you didn't, it seems like you wouldn't stop.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'm my own worst enemy.
So overall, what do you think the messaging brings to the brand that maybe other brands don't have?
It shows that we give a shit, and that's one thing about us that is true. We do give a shit. I do genuinely care, like about a month or two ago I hit someone up just, sussing out. I hadn't heard from him in ages. Like, he was a pretty good customer and bought a bit of stuff from us. I hadn't heard from him in a while. It's like, oh man, how's things? I just got this thing in my life. It's like, oh man, I haven't been doing so well. I'm like, oh fuck, what's up? Anyway, I was expecting this guy to say, I've got no money, or not no money, but things have been tough with work or whatever. Anyway, he said to me, he's like, oh, I tried to end it all. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, and he took a photo of his bed. He's like, I'm in hospital. Like the ambulance found me with the rope around my neck and it snapped. Like he jumped off something, like it was pretty full on. Like I was just like, fuck. And he showed me the photos. Like he was clearly in fucking hospital. Like he wasn't bullshitting me. And I was like, fuck man, what happened? And I just started talking to him for about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. Like it wasn't like life changing or anything, but like I just talked to him and I was just like, fuck man, like what happened? Because of the volume of messaging we do, where we like to be in touch with everyone, I'm starting to uncover things like that, and like it makes me kind of reach out to like like I'm trying to do some stuff with this charity group they're called Love Me, Love You. We want to harness and help people doing fresh shit and progressive stuff, because we're progression whores. We're all about it, and if we can help that by offering up this space, then fuck, why not? And the hardest thing for me is just like I love investing in that connection side of it, that value, but it's hard to scale that. And that's where we're at right now, is what elements do we scale and what do we not scale? What can we do? It's really hard. How accessible I am, it's crazy. It's insane. And the reality is something's going to have to give. There's going to be a lot of things over the next couple of years that are just going to be massive compromises. It just keeps coming back to balance. It always is balance. You've got decision A or decision B. Where do you meet in the middle? How do you not be this money mogul, hungry guy that's just sitting alone unhappy versus this hippie that just floats around with no money? And obviously, invariably being the decision maker makes you the bad man, because you can't keep everyone happy.
I guess that's where the investing in people and why the blurring the line between customers and friends pays off.
Yeah, it pays off. I just wish there was 3 of me running around. It would make life a lot easier.